DZ drop claimed by agent.
Ah, no aiming. Nope. No aiming, win.
Initiating rogue protocol. Extraction called for.
Ah, nice. GG. You good player. Him cheater. Oh, nice. Nice.
Hello, my friends. Can you inspect me? Can you tell me if my build is good or not? I don't know. My build. It's the same guys as earlier.
Get it, girlfriend.
Please. Can you tell me?
Initiating rogue protocol.
You can tell. You can tell.
Rogue striker
The
drone
road is really bad.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
Thank you for your loot, my friend. I like it.
Don't worry about me.
Thank you, my friend.
Rogue stinger hive detected. Rogue agent eliminated. An agent needs assistance.
Done.
Extraction helo.
He's here,
Almost
he's here.
within range.
He killed me. Back.
Rogue agent neutralized.
Small one.
Now detecting contaminated gear. Rogue agent.
Remember, you are telling me my build is but I don't think anymore, is it?
Yes. Road is really bad.
Rogue agent. Rogue. Nearby agent has become rogue. Rogue agent nearby.
What's up, guys? Patrick Wolf here. Welcome to another Division 2 build video. Today's video is going to be one of the more special ones. This is going to be my best headshot assault rifle build. This build has morphed over the months. It has changed quite a few times. I've been testing a bunch of things. There are many ways to run a headshot assault rifle build. This is by no means the best. On paper, technically, if you want to spec weapon handling or headshot damage or anything other than crit damage and headshot damage, this is going to be best in slot. This is probably going to be the best headshot damage build that you can make on paper. In practice, though, there's so many other elements like crits, for example, RNG, like I discussed in my previous SMG build. So there are many ways. This is, you know, if you want to run something with a bit more crit damage, maybe not use Walker, things like that. That's completely up to you. I just wanted to quickly just make sure you understand that before we get into the video. It's all my opinion, but this is from my practice and experience. I've done a lot of fights, and this will be more for 1v1 kind of solo gameplay in the Dark Zone or Conflict for PC players, because we're going to be focusing on headshots. So I would not recommend to try this build if you're not decent at headshots or hitting your headshots, but you can give it a try. It's very, very powerful, especially if you just get up close to people. That's generally how I use this build, so it isn't too bad. I'm sure console players could still do it. When I was playing console, I was also able to hit headshots from closer ranges. It's not as easy, obviously, but it can be done. So we're going to go through the specialization, the build, and then I will go down to the firing range. Actually, I've got the clips already done for you guys. I've got some numbers here. We're going to talk about the differences between running, like, for example, Punch Drunk, Walker Harris. What's the best pieces for a headshot build? If you guys want to know that, you've come to the right place. So specialization is just going to be quite simple. I'm not going to waste any time here. We're going to go through this. We're going to use the striker shield. Very important. Make sure you have everything activated, and assault rifle damage up. That's what you need to have. Now, as you guys saw from the gameplay, you can use the Eagle Bearer or the FAMAS within sync. I would recommend these two guns. I see people using Carbine 7. I see people using other weapons like the Police M4. The FAMAS is the best. There are two assault rifles you should be using in this game. For close range, the FAMAS, and for long range, the SOCOM MK16. And if you try that and you listen to me and you give it a go, I'm sure you guys will understand and realize how powerful those two ARs are. But it's all preference, like I said. If you want to use whatever other gun, they are still viable and they still do a lot of damage and have their pros and cons. So we have got the FAMAS 2010. It doesn't really matter which variant. Just make sure you have in sync, damage to targets out of cover. Now, I have modified this with some accuracy, which is, I'll explain in a second why that is. If you guys saw my previous video, this allows me to hit my headshots a bit better. The reticle doesn't bounce all around as much, so we will hit our shots from a bit longer ranges. It helps, especially when I'm having those mid fights. It is quite tricky to hit headshots. So with a headshot build, Walker and Harris is going to be probably the best combination that you can use for a headshot build, and we're going to talk about the numbers and why that is. The reason being is that Walker Harris's damage to armor and base weapon damage scales incredibly well with your headshots. So headshot damage and armor damage scale really well. So it's going to just amplify it quite significantly, more than I even thought. That's why I had to do quite a bit of testing for this video and for this build, because I have been using this for a few weeks now, but I wanted to get it perfect. I finally found a decent mask. It's quite hard to farm this mask. I don't know why I kept getting armor regen rolled and crit damage, but hey, we got it finally. So the whole purpose of this build is to hit headshots. Unbreakable and concussion are the two talents you should be using. I would not use anything else. Now you can if you want to, but concussion is just really, really strong, and unbreakable is unbelievably good. It's like having two lives. So the two talents are pretty self-explanatory. The two-piece Walker Harris is going to be quite important for this build. We're going to compare a whole bunch of variants. Fenris one piece with a Providence, headshot damage obviously, base Fenris, base headshot, very important. Contractors and Fox's Prayer are just going to be the best in slot. So what I've done is, what I recommend you guys is to decide to yourself, what kind of player do you want to be? You do not have to use the attributes or roll your gear the way that I have done this. So headshot damage and crit chance, in my opinion, is going to be the best way to fully utilize this. You do not have to do it this way. The reason why I've done this is because your baseline build, I have not spec'd at all into critical hit damage, but have a look. I have got 45% crit damage. So my crit chance is just below 50%. That's why Walker and Harris is really good. If you're making a full critical hit damage build, you're better off going with Grupo and Cheska, things like that. But we're going to explain that later on. So just make sure you're aware that, like I said before, crit chance for me, I want to still be able to kind of crit. There's many ways to do it. Sometimes weapon handling and headshot damage can make your build insane. You can beam people from long ranges. You can go crazy. The problem is I like to use Spot of Vigilance from longer ranges. I don't use that build in close range. I use other builds from longer ranges. So I don't want to just have weapon handling. To me, it's pointless because I get up close and my bullets still hit anyway. It's not that hard to hit up close. But if you want to play from further away with a build like this, I recommend headshot damage and weapon handling. because crit chance is not the most important. What you can also do is roll headshot damage and critical hit damage. Even if your crit chance is low, the Walker Harris makes up for that, and you will eventually crit, which means you'll probably get the most out of it. So there are a few ways you can do it. It all comes down to RNG, whether or not you need weapon handling or you want to spec into crits. So Walker 1-piece, 2-piece, damage to armor, weapon damage, very nice. The 1-piece is not very good, but the 2-piece combination with headshots, like I said, scales incredibly well. Every modification put headshot damage. The mask got headshot, crit chance. Chest piece, crit chance, headshot. Headshot, crit chance with a blue. Backpack, crit chance, headshot. Gloves, headshot. Knee pads, Fox's Prayer, crit chance. So, like I said before, you can get more headshot damage from this build if you want, but I like to have a balance, because I do see quite a few crits, I'm sure you guys noticed from the gameplay. So Fox's Prayer and Contractors are best in slot. They're just needed. These damages, like I said before, they multiply on top of headshot damage, so it is necessary to run them. I know it's boring, we always see this, but the way that I've set up now, I think it's very good. So we have got 1.3 million armor. I've always said this and I will always say this. If you fight each other and you both have the same build and you're beaming each other in the head, no one misses their shots, same crit chance, same crit damage, 1.3 will generally beat a 1.5 because of the damage, the way that the damage scales and the mitigation works in PvP. So 1.3, if you can hit your shots, is probably going to be the best armor values. You can go more. You can go 1.7, 1.6, 1.1 if you want to. I wouldn't go less than 1.1, to be honest. You'll just get beamed quite quickly. 1.5 is probably better for players who are quite new to the build and need to practice a bit more. That's what I started off with, 1.5. Then I moved over to the big boy 1.3, as we call it. So it's really up to you guys. So these headshot builds, there's so many different variations or varieties to it. With my one, I have got crit chance, crit damage. I've put some accuracy mods and even some weapon handling rolled on it could help you significantly. I've got 165 headshot damage. Punch Drunk Mask can actually give you more than this, but it's less damage, and I will go through that in a second. So we have got 48 crit chance, 45 crit damage. You do not need that much crit chance. That is completely up to you. You can scale less, more. Because of the Walker, it just gives you so much variety. Because our non-crits are going to be doing way more damage than any kind of crit build, so it makes sense to just go full headshot and weapon handling anything else and just leave it there. But like I said before, the crit damage is stock on your build, so it does make sense to spec some crit chance. That's what I have found. You can pause the video if you want to check anything else. I will just quickly go through the skills. So I've got the EMP Sticky Bomb, works really well. Obviously, when you're 1v1ing someone, you don't use that. Shield, Striker, make sure you do have your damage mods on. The shield is just too good. You need to use it. If you don't like it, you need to use it because you'll just be dying a lot, because the shields are really good. And these shields are nice because it actually prevents people from body shotting you, especially from those damage SMG builds like I posted a few days ago. So let's now talk about the comparisons, and I'm going to quickly just show a bunch of clips put together of the differences between the pieces and what happens if you exchange them for other common combinations. Punch Drunk is something that a lot of people like to use. So let's just quickly showcase the build. What I've done is added a red holster instead of a blue, just because my other pieces are red. So as you can see, we are hitting 435 and then non-crits 373. Then we're going to change the holster to a Cheska holster with Punch Drunk Mask. Let's take a look now, because Punch Drunk gives you headshot damage. A lot of people do like to run that. As you can see, way more headshot damage, same crit damage. Crit chance is not something worried about. And the numbers that we are going to be hitting are 422 crit, 363 non-crits. Then we're going to move over to another combination, which is Grupo and then Punch Drunk Mask. You can use a Cheska, doesn't really matter. Well, we've just changed it to Grupo because that will give us more crit damage. And now we have got 435 crits and 358 non-crits. Let's just talk about the results. Now, obviously, nothing was perfect. It wasn't a perfect test. I just wanted to give you, in the ballpark, just my readings. So what I did was I swapped the blue Walker Harris for this red one, which has got headshot, max weapon damage. The Cheska's got headshot, max weapon. And then the Grupo did not have as much weapon damage, so we're just going to take that into account. So from the readings, what did we find? Running the Punch Drunk and Cheska is going to give us less damage on both accounts, crits and non-crits. So we're going to phase that one out. The Grupo and Punch Drunk is probably the best going for critical hit damage. Now, if you rolled headshot damage and crit damage on all your pieces, the problem is you're going to have no crit chance. Therefore, you're just underutilizing the critical hit damage. Therefore, it's pointless, and the Walker 2-piece will always be better because the Punch Drunk and Grupo, we were critting for 435,000. Let's just increase it to 436 because my weapon damage was quite low. So the 2 Walker was 435. So 436 Punch Drunk and Grupo, and the 2 Walker was 435. So only 1,000 damage difference. Even if it was 2,000, the non-crits of the 2-piece Walker was 375,000 as opposed to the Punch Drunk Grupo 358, so over 10,000 damage a shot. And considering the RNG and the fact that we can only achieve 50% crit chance, therefore the 2 Walker is going to be the winner. But if you want to make a crit build, to be honest, the Karate Mask and the Grupo holster is going to be your best bet. But then again, like I've always said to you guys, if you're going to be running that, that's more for body shot builds. Critical hit damage and headshot damage work incredibly well. So for example, if we have a 10% increase in crit damage and a 10% increase in headshot damage, the crits are going to be exactly the same because of the way it scales. It's still a scaling option on the baseline. The problem is the headshot damage when you're not critting is going to be way more damage than if you just spec'd into critical hit damage. So depending on your RNG, you're going to hit way harder with the 2-piece Walker as opposed to the Karate. But if you crit all your bullets and you're quite lucky, the Karate can outweigh it. Let me quickly just explain this to you guys. So what I've done is I've put the Karate's Mask with a Grupo holster. So currently we are sitting at 49. That's the problem, 50% crit chance. And then we have got only 160% headshot damage. So what I'm going to do is, because you would be trying to focus more on crit chance, I would have to swap this away and just try and invest a bit more critical hit chance into the build. So now we're looking a bit better. More crit damage, way more crit damage. Remember, the Karate will give us 25% more. Let's take a look at what we get. So 457 as opposed to 333. Let's take a look at the readings back there. So 457,000. On the 2-piece Walker, we got 435,000. So that's like quite a significant difference. The difference is going to be 21,000 damage per crit. So the Karate and Grupo is giving us 21,000 more damage per crit than the 2-piece Walker. But if we take a look and take into account the non-crits, the Karate combination was doing 333,000 and the 2 Walker was doing 373,000. That difference is 40,000, 40,201. So the non-crits are going to be doing 40,000 damage more. So that is a huge difference, and you can see where my logic comes into it. So a headshot build like this, it's more beneficial to have the Walker and Harris 2-piece, just because we can only reach, 60% cap in the critical hit chance. A lot of your other bullets, 40% of the time, are not going to be critting. And if you are going for body shots, or should I say critical hit damage, you're probably better off hitting body shots, as it will be more beneficial towards you. But I do believe that the Walker and Harris 2-piece that I showcased, let's just bring it back up, is definitely going to be my new go-to headshot assault rifle damage build. It's just really strong. It absolutely melts people, and like I wanted to showcase to you guys, it is all preference, and there are many things to take into consideration, take into account. Not one is better than the other. It all depends on your RNG. Like I said, if you crit all the time with the Karate combination, you're probably going to beat me, but the sheer headshot damage and damage to armor, the way it scales, is just going to help me, especially when we don't crit. So please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon in the next video. Peace out.